Hey friends, so we just got a foster care placement and we've had him for about 48 hours. So for anyone who's interested in our journey, we're just going to share with you what these past few days have been like. Okay, so we got a call on Thursday that there was a child that needed to be moved from a previous foster home, and so we got him the following day on Friday afternoon around 3:30 p.m. He is a 2-year-old boy. He actually came with a lot of stuff because he wasn't coming from like a bio parent situation. He was coming from another foster family. He came with a toddler bed and with toys and a car seat, a ton of diapers. So there wasn't too much we needed to do to prep, but I did know based on the last time we got foster kids that as soon as they come in, they are super needy. And previously we fostered newborns. It wasn't the same type of like adjustment period because now we're taking in an older child who's 2. And I have no idea like what that was gonna be like. And so I took my kids out to the park and to the library and had like a little date with them throughout the day, like making sure I spent good quality time with them and talked to them a lot about what was happening and got them like excited for this kid coming in and prepare them that he may be a little scared in the beginning and he may not be super playful in the beginning, but eventually they were going to be like really good friends. And we prepared them for some of like the behaviors that they might see, like maybe like biting or hitting, because you know we didn't know what we were getting or what this kid was going to be like. His parents did foster care as he was growing up, so he kind of knew what to expect with like older kids coming into the home, so he had some really good talks with them.
I basically just told the kids about one of my experiences. I think with our first foster sibling that we had, when I introduced myself to him, he scratched me in the face and I told the kids about it. It was kind of funny because that didn't happen, thankfully, in this with our current placement, and one of our kids came over and said, "Were you lying about the fact that he was going to scratch us?" And I said, "No, he just hasn't yet, but you just need to be careful around him."
But he's been a super sweet kid. I'm jumping ahead here, but
yeah. But we had those conversations to prepare the kids, and then we had conversations as well just to make sure, like, hey, how are we going to do this? And then it was really just time to welcome him into our home.
Since he arrived at 3:30, it was a work day, it was on Friday, and so he was still working, so I had greeted the child and the caseworker at the door. We'll just call him Little C so I don't have to keep calling him like the child. But Little C was like super anxious to be here. The social worker said he was crying from the moment she had stopped the car on the driveway and was trying to get him out of the car to come into the house. We are his second home in 1 week, so it's totally understandable that the kid was like, what's going on? Who are these people? Where are we? And so it was really sad. He cried for a while. It took a while for her to like drop him off and get out of here and give us all of the paperwork that we needed because he was just like attached. Like he did not want to let go.
He was pretty much just clinging to her the entire time. So we introduced ourselves. We all sat in the playroom with different toys and would like try to approach him, and he would like hit it away and was just very nervous, which makes sense because I think he understood he was going to be dropped off here, and the caseworker, which was the only familiar thing to him, was going to leave and he was going to be with a strange family. We just considered that as we approached him, and we just told the caseworker, like, we understand that when you leave it's going to be a little bit tough, but you know we're ready. So then at that point the caseworker said okay, so she started getting some of the things from the car. I helped her move them inside, and then she handed us some of the paperwork, said we can take care of this later, and then she left, so we said bye. Obviously Little C started crying. Alana took him right away, so she just kind of coddled him and held him, and then I started cooking.
So he was okay with me holding him for about like 5 to 10 minutes maybe, and then he sort of noticed Jorn in the kitchen, and then at that point on, when he noticed him, he like wanted nothing to do with me. And he went over to Jorn and he just wanted to be held by Jorn and just super attached to him. And the caseworker did tell us that in the previous home he had also attached to the other foster dad and didn't want anything to do with the foster mom. That's what was happening. He was attaching to him. I don't know why. Like, I couldn't really even look in his direction without setting him off. He works and he travels for work, and he's actually traveling tomorrow, so I was like, ugh, this is going to be really difficult because I am essentially going to be his primary caregiver, and with him being attached to Jorn, it was going to be a tough situation. So at this point in my head, I'm like, oh, there was lots of anxiety there.
But I think we were aware of, okay, so this first phase is just going to be about us building trust with him. And so we knew that was going to have to happen slowly, so I just kind of took him, Alana took over the cooking, and I just kind of walked around the house with him. He was really comfortable in the kitchen, which is where I was, but then when I came to the living room, he wanted to go back to the kitchen, and then we went to the playroom, and he wanted to go back to the kitchen. But he slowly started to get more and more warmed up to, okay, I feel a little bit more safe out this space. So it's just really interesting because you're thinking through what must be going on in this kid's head, and he's in a completely unfamiliar spot, and so it makes sense that he's kind of like slowly branching out and slowly expanding what he feels comfortable with. And over the past 48 hours, it's kind of crazy, like literally like spaces in the home he's gotten more comfortable with. So initially he just wanted to be on this floor, didn't want to go upstairs, and then started to be more comfortable going upstairs and playing in our older kid's room. Slowly but surely, like spatially, he became more comfortable, and similar I feel like we've seen with Alana, where he definitely still clings and prefers me, but he's starting to open up more and more to Alana.
But we are on day 2, and the first like 24 hours, that was not the case. I couldn't touch him. I mean, I didn't want to like push myself on him because I didn't want him to like have an aversion to me or be scared of me. I was trying to sort of let it happen naturally, and thankfully, like I feel like last night we had a little bit of a breakthrough when I was playing with him outside, and I was letting him like throw buckets of water on me, and he thought it was great. And then today we took him to the park, and I was like playing with him with the pine cones and making like a little nature soup with him, and he loved that. He was like laughing it up and smiling, and usually he's always like on the lookout for Jordan and making sure that he's somewhere nearby, and he was okay with just playing with me at the park, and Jordan was off with the older kids, and he like wasn't anxious looking around for him. So for me, that was like a major breakthrough, and he was smiling and laughing. It's getting better, slowly but surely. He's becoming more comfortable with me. So really quick before we get into the more detailed aspects of the first 48 hours, I'm just gonna tell you kind of like what we did throughout the day. The first day when he arrived, we just kept him here and like showed him around the house to get him acclimated to his new surroundings. And then the second day we thought it would be cool to spoil him. And so we took him out to a zoo in the morning, and then for lunch we took him out for a treat to McDonald's, brought him home, he napped, and then we just played with him in the backyard and took him a bath. And then on Sunday, which is today, second like full day, but third day that we sort of had him, we took him to church in the morning, came back, took a nap, and then in the afternoon we just took him out to play at a park. And we came home, had dinner, and yeah, that was pretty much the 3 days. 2 days. 2 days. We need to rewind a little bit.
Yeah, first night he had dinner with us, but didn't want to eat what we were feeding him. Growing up, I was aware of the fact that for a lot of kids in foster care, eating is the last kind of thing that they still have control over. So it's typically a battle, at least based on what I've seen with my parents and what they were dealing with, and then what we ended up witnessing with little C, where he did not want us feeding him anything. If it was going to go in his mouth, he needed to have it in his hands and put it in there himself. We didn't want to push anything. We're pretty strict with eating in terms of when we sit around the dinner table, that's when you eat, and what you get on your plate is what you're going to eat, so that we're not raising picky eaters. We were a little bit more lenient with him because we understand that he's just been taken from a situation. He's kind of processing through where he's at now in a strange home. So we were a little bit more lenient. I think he ended up eating a banana.
We made like a kielbasa, potato, carrot dish.
He ended up eating some kielbasa.
Yeah, I had thought ahead of time that, you know, kids like kielbasa or sausage, and I didn't know how he was going to react to like the carrots and the potatoes, and so I had actually like taken out a piece of it beforehand so that if he wouldn't eat, like he would at least eat that portion. And so luckily I did, because that's all he wanted to eat the first night. So he had a few bites of kielbasa and a banana and a tiny bit of water, but like really when he went to bed that night, his diaper was completely dry and like empty. And so luckily we had much better luck with him eating the next day. It was still like a major uphill battle, but that first day was not great.
Alright, so after dinner, we figured since he had bonded to me that I would just kind of go through the bedtime routine. So I brought him upstairs, I read some books to him, and then I said, alright, now it's time to go to sleep. And at that point, he really wanted to watch TV. So for a kid who just turned 2, he's actually pretty vocal and can use his words pretty good. So he was pointing at the TV and saying, watch, watch, watch. So I don't know if that was in the previous household where maybe technology was a little bit more prevalent, but I said, no, we're not going to watch. Those are little things where like he's realizing that he's in a new home, but he doesn't have control over these things. So then he threw a little bit of a tantrum. But I will say that his tantrums have been very short, and then he just kind of, maybe 2-3 minutes, and then he just kind of goes with the flow, which is awesome. Makes him really cute and sweet. Actually, I read to him brush his teeth, and then we brought him into the room. Actually, he didn't let me brush his teeth, and we didn't end up brushing his teeth because he did not want anything going near his mouth. And again, that was also probably just a control thing. The last 2 nights that I put him to bed, brushing his teeth was really a lot of fun, and he really enjoyed doing it.
And the same thing with like the first day he got here, we tried to give him a bath because he was kind of like dirty. He'd been in daycare that day and he was just a big mess. And he like was losing it. He did not want to go near the bathtub, and we did not want to force it on him, so we just like let it go. And as he's become more comfortable, like we put him in the bathtub yesterday and he like loved it. Like he was in there for a long time. So like it's cool to see like the progress from like the first night, and we're only like 2.5 days in, but it's cool to see like the progress of the first night and like how just totally scared he was of everything and uncomfortable. And now he's like smiling. The first day he like didn't smile at all. There was a lot of crying, a lot of like fighting us on absolutely everything, and he's been so much more compliant and sweet and just laughing and enjoying things. And like you can tell in the beginning like there was just like this fear. Now like there will be times where you can see him kind of go back into that like, okay, wait a second, like what's going on? But for the most part, like he's just like enjoying playing with the older kids and kind of laughing with us. I did not expect it to happen this quickly, and we still have a long way to go, but it's really cool just to see that process.
I think there's security and safety in two things. One, just the family and like the relationships that we have with our kids. And then two is our schedule. So we're pretty strict in terms of following, like, okay, this is when we're going to have dinner time together as a family. And then now there's some playtime together. And so he's seeing those rhythms, and I think he's finding some security and safety in that. And that's allowing him to be like, okay, I'm okay in this situation that I'm in.
Yeah, he knows what to expect, so it doesn't cause that anxiety in him. He mentioned too, like seeing our relationship with the kids, like in the last household, I don't think there was older kids for him to see, just like the parents and the bond and like the interaction between the parent and the child. And here he gets to see that, and he sees that our kids are not afraid of us, and that our kids enjoy being with us, and they're laughing and smiling with us, and that helps him to feel more secure, I think.
What was it like, or how did you feel when you first saw him come through the door, and then that first like half hour being with him? What was going through your mind?
The first time around when we got the twins that we fostered, we got them straight from the hospital as newborns. I feel like it's really easy to like immediately bond to like this newborn baby that comes to you. Not like there's no personality there, but there's no like history there. They don't have any bonds with like other people. And so it was just really easy to feel like they were mine as soon as we got them. And obviously with an older kid, like that's not the case. He was really like kind of scared of us when we walked through the door. I knew it wasn't gonna happen. I was prepared for this, but I was kind of hoping there was like this magical thing that like, oh, he was gonna be comfortable with us right away, and like maybe we would bond right away. I would look at him and he would look at me, and it would just like click, and that did not happen. I knew I was gonna be overwhelmed before it even happened, but I was overwhelmed. I was like, ugh, our whole life's like about to change, and I had already been through this before, and our last placement lasted 2 years. And you know, I just got a little bit of anxiety thinking about all that stuff that was going to happen, but I also expected him to act that way, and so I just like kept reminding myself of like his history, like knowing that we were going to help this child and that it was going to get better, it was going to get easier. And as time went on and he realized that he was safe and he was in a stable home, like he would grow to be more comfortable with us, and it was going to be a more enjoyable situation. So yeah, the first day it was very overwhelming. I was very excited beforehand and then anxious after he got here. For the most part, it still went as expected. What about for you?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well in terms of our previous placement being babies, which is kind of a blank slate. And here, he was very afraid of us. You don't know what he's experienced so far that he's going to take into that relationship with you. So that was definitely very true, where like it was like a little bit off-putting, I guess you could say, or maybe caught me a little bit more off guard, where it was like, all right, this kid has these ideas about the world already, and we're going to have to show him that, you know, some of the things that he's experienced is not necessarily the norm, and that this is what a home can look like with two parents and kids, and these are the rhythms and things that we have. So that was one thing. And then like I was really curious of thinking about like, oh, what's this kid gonna look like? What's his temperament gonna be like? Because that's, you know, always kind of up in the air. And
yeah, you think that even as like new parents, when you're gonna bring home like a baby from the hospital, and those same kind of thoughts that you think when you're getting a new baby, like you're about to have one, I feel like it's, you kind of go through the same process in your mind with getting a new foster kid. Like, you know, what are they gonna be like? And like you said, like what are they gonna look like? Like those same things you kind of ask yourself. It's kind of fun. It's like a surprise you have to open when they get here. Yeah, you said that pretty well. What's a memorable moment for you?
Alana and I were snuggling on the couch here, just kind of watching the three kids play together. We were talking about him and how his temperament was really sweet, and he was just a good kid. And he looked up at us, and he just came over and decided to snuggle with us. And then all the other two kids realized we were doing a little group snuggle, and they came in, sat on our laps, and that was just cute because it was like, all right, this is just a little family that's been formed over the past 48 hours through many like tears on Little Seaside, and for us like trying to work through and be patient while also being stern to help him understand that there are some boundaries, but boundaries in a way that's good for him, that he understands, okay, this is a place that I can feel safe as a kid. So just cool to kind of see that form.
And emotional for me because of the lack of sleep, so everything is either like really good or really bad. So I'm like, this is such a beautiful moment.
Yeah. So we actually need to go to sleep right now,
yes,
because we didn't sleep that much yesterday.
or the night before, and we're using all of our free time before bed to talk to you. So we're going to say goodbye, but again, we'll try to like update you a little bit later in our journey. If that's something you'd like to see, please give us a thumbs up or tell us in the comment section. If you're considering being a foster parent, it is hard work, but I say go for it. It is rewarding. There is definitely heartbreak in it, but it's totally worth it for these kids that you will be helping. Anything else you want to add?
I agree.
All right, see you next time.